What's up, everybody? This is the 10 Count Podcast by Andre, and I'm Andre, your host. And tonight, on my official first podcast, we're going to do a review of AEW Dynamite, the spring breakthrough. And basically, it was a good show. I completely agree with that statement. It is a good show. But at the same time, it did have a couple hiccups that I wasn't too fond of. Hiccup number one came in the Athena Mercedes Moné match in the Owen Hart Championship Cup. Basically, I don't like the way that they did it. I understand why they did it the way they did it. I just don't like it. But basically, you're in Boston, you're in Mercedes Moné's hometown, and basically, you're not going to have her lose in front of her own home crowd. Now, what that kind of does is it kind of undermines Athena a little bit, because Athena's been undefeated for the last 2.5 years. So with that being the case, you're going to have her lose on Dynamite. Now, granted, it was the Owen Hart Cup tournament. I get that. But at the same time, it's like, y'all should have let her lose on a pay-per-view. At least that way it'd be more spectacular, more of a hype to it. And y'all could have hyped the match more by actually... y'all could have hyped the match more by actually having it at a pay-per-view, which means y'all could have hyped it longer. Now, as I said, I didn't like the fact that Athena lost, but when it comes down to it, you gotta do what's best for business. And at that point, you're in Boston, so what's best for business is Mercedes Moné win. That's what's best for business. Now, the second hiccup that I really didn't like too much, and this is going to be a biggie. Now, a couple weeks ago, I did hear that Josh Alexander did sign with AEW. Okay, so when they came out with the wild card thing for the Owen Hart Cup tournament, I was like, the wild card is Josh Alexander. It has to be. Even though for the past week or so, they've been trying to tease us with Jack Perry. But come on now. You got yourself a multi-time world champion that's basically going to debut for your company, and you're going to have him lose? You don't do that. No, you really don't do that. That, to me, was very bad booking, because when it comes down to it, this is the man's debut match in your company, and you want him to lose to someone like Hangman Adam Page? You want him to put Adam Page over? That really don't make no sense to me. Because first off, Adam Page, he didn't look strong at all in that match. He didn't look strong at all, because basically having him win that match makes him look weak. Because you got a debuting megastar like Josh Alexander, multi-time TNA world champion, and you want to have him put Adam Page over? No, that makes absolutely no sense to me. That is just very, very bad booking. I can't say what I want to say, but I'm just saying that was just very bad booking, because Josh Alexander was not supposed to lose his debut match. No, that just was not supposed to happen. That's like one of the hiccups of that whole show that's got me like, wow, what the hell is AEW doing? Like, wow, that's not something that you do. Now, granted, what I can kind of figure is, because of the way the match went and the way it ended, I can say that they probably did that for storyline purposes, because, of course, Josh Alexander is just coming in, and y'all need to insert him in some type of story to get him started. I get that, but at the same time, it's like, it has to be story, because one, you got Don Callis at ringside whispering something in his ear, and then he attacks Hangman after the match is over. That's got to be some type of story to set up for whether or not, like, Hangman is probably going to be Josh's first real story feud in AEW. With that being the case, from the way I saw, the way that he did things, that Josh is probably starting off as a heel, which it's not a bad thing with him starting off as a heel because, I mean, he can play that part. He can really, really play that part. So, okay, he's a heel. But with the story the way it goes, you can't have Adam Page playing the heel role right now. You really can't because he's not the heel person. Even though, if you ask me, by watching him on TV, he seems like he's just a neutral person. Neutral meaning he don't care whether you're a heel or a face or whether he's a heel or a face. He's in the middle. He's in the middle. So, with that being said, let's move on to what I would consider to be the best match of the whole night, and that was the Will Ospreay Takeshita match. That match was like the best match of the entire night because Ospreay, first off, whenever he gets in that ring, Ospreay's going to give you a damn good match. I mean, he's going to give you a match. He's going to give you a match of the year match. He's going to get a real match of the year match every time he steps in there because, let's see, okay, back in October when he wrestled Kyle Fletcher for the first time before Fletcher joined the Don Callis family, that match, if you ask me, should have been match of the year last year. Now, the steel cage match from a couple months ago, that was a banger too. That should have been on match of the year already. Now, granted, it's a bit early to say that, but that's what it is. That match was off the hook. And Takeshita, right now, he's the only member of the Don Callis family that you could actually post or push in the World Heavyweight title scene. He's the only one because what? You got Cage and Hawk, who are a tag team. You got Kyle Fletcher, which basically, in my opinion, is nothing more than a mid-carder. You got his partner, who's nothing more than muscle, working because he's being forced to. That's like, yeah, you really can't push any of them in the heavyweight title scene. Now you can push Hawk and Cage in the tag team division, but you can't push anybody but Takeshita in the heavyweight title scene, which, in my opinion, he should have been in the heavyweight title scene. Now, okay, so you put the international title on him, and then you take that off of him and put it on Kenny Omega, which, that's not a bad move. That's not a bad move at all, because Kenny Omega is over. But you don't want to put the AEW title on Kenny Omega, at least not just yet, because basically Omega, they're gearing him up to go against Okada to unify the Continental and the International title if they go that route with it. So you really can't put Omega in that title picture. So right now, since the Death Rider storyline is getting so old and drawn out, and Moxley still holding that belt hostage, come on now. Like, first off, the Death Rider storyline is getting old, but we're going to talk about them in a minute. Back to the Ospreay Takeshita match. It was just both of them put on a hell of a show where they did, like, it was a balanced show. I mean, a balanced match where they both did their high flying, their power, and their actual technical skills was on the road too. But like I said, every time Ospreay steps in that ring, it's a match of the year candidate because the bull just is phenomenal. The one match I would love to see, if it hasn't happened already, it probably has happened over in New Japan. It probably has happened. I want to see Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr. Now that'd be a banger of a match right there. because you got Zack Sabre Jr., who's basically a technical wrestler who also is darn good at submission wrestling as well. You got Ospreay, who's a high flyer and got technical skills too. That'd be one heck of a match if it didn't happen already over in Japan. Now let's get to the main event, the trios match, which that match kind of went the same way that the Swerve and Moxley match did at Dynasty, but at the same time, it wasn't as cluttered. It wasn't as unnecessary because you had two separate storylines going on here. You had Swerve getting revenge on the Young Bucks for screwing him at Dynasty, and then you got Swerve at ringside with the chair for the Young Bucks. You got the Ops in the ring against the Death Riders, which I kind of like the way that they started off that whole story as well, where they talking about Hook got attacked and he had to go to the hospital, so they had a spot open on the Ops, and then all of a sudden they bring in Powerhouse Hobbs as well. And then the Death Riders on the same side had basically the same situation where Swerve injured Pac, so Moxley had to step in to take his place, because basically all they were doing is exercising the Freebird rule. That's all they were doing. Which I'm not saying it was a bad thing. It wasn't. It was a very good thing. I liked the match myself. I really did. It was kind of more or less like a all-out brawl at times. It really was. But it was a good match, and I think that since they put that third strap on Hobbs is going to be an Ops soon. And they're going to make the Ops be a 4-piece. That's just my opinion on it. And I think with Hook being injured or not injured, whatever the case may be in this situation, if he is injured, okay, fine, dandy, you got somebody to fill his spot in Hobbs. If he isn't injured, when he comes back, they're probably going to put him after a singles title, like a mid-card singles title. But all in all, the Spring Breakthrough was not a bad show at all. It could have been better, but it wasn't terrible. It was better than last week's Dynamite, and to be quite honest with you, it was better than Dynasty, to be quite honest with you, in my opinion. Now, as of the time I'm doing this video, basically AEW Collision is on, which is night 2 of Spring Breakthrough. So let me hop on that, let me watch that, and then I'll make y'all a video based on that. But until next time, I want to thank everybody for watching, and I will be bringing y'all more videos, a lot more videos in the future. Our next one is probably going to be on WrestleMania, the pre-show, to give you what I think is going to happen there. Basically give y'all the whole analysis of WrestleMania 41, since this is WrestleMania week. So everybody out there, thank you very much for watching, and hit that subscribe button.